What's up everyone, welcome back to a new video on the Alien Anchor channel. Today we'll be going over the markets again per usual. So without that having said, let's get straight into it. Quickly wanted to point out I have changed the settings of my microphone a little bit, so let me know if this is better or that we would like something else or the original was better. I can play a lot with these settings, so it might take a while before I find the perfect ones, but with that having said, let me guys know. I hope you guys let me know whatever is best for the ears. And with that having said, let's get into it. When we look at the S&P, it's clearly just still chopping around right in this range. Where we did hold this, we currently have this as a resistance, which you already have proven to be resistance earlier today, which is where we made that dump on the New York Open, and yet again we made that low, which this also was a little bit news driven, the impulse of it at least. Well, this is clearly looking bullish. The Nasdaq looks even better. The Dow Jones looks to be that weaker index, but this likes to do a bit more of compression and then start to break up anyways. Where here it also was lagging, but on this move it did a lot better than the other indexes. So getting into BTC, yeah, should be quite clear that we have clearly been trending up. I did clean up the chart a little bit. I've only pointed out I've removed the historical points in this chart and those levels that are way down below that I don't think are relevant, at least for now. So what we have right now, we have this all-time high with this being the wick of this high, right? Of this candle. When we have candlestick analysis, we look at how the bodies and wicks, how here again you see the body not closing above the previous body, and it goes below. Here you have a close above, and you see a move towards the upside the next day. So I wanted to point that out real quick, so this is why I've put this level right there. And now let's go on to the schizophrenic 30-minute chart, where I stated that previous day open, previous day close, should be very interesting, which was right here. We ended up flipping it earlier on in the day, and as usual, you make it resistance first, trade down a little bit. This can also happen on the opposite side, where it goes up first, starts trading here, ends up gaining below and retesting this and then starting to flood. So keep that in mind, it's just a directional thing. Whether price, of course, trades above, we should go up. Whether price trades below, we should go below first. So we had that typical reversion trade right there. Here we see it reclaiming that previous day close, ramp up, and start to reject right where around those previous highs. This was also that New York reversion, of course, where we traded down, had that bearish news catalyst, which made the bottom. And what did we get again? In that lower time frame, we had a liquidity grab. That if I point out this level, I will explain this a bit better, because this might give a perfect example of that thing I explain. Yes, perfect. What I say with these sweeps, what do I want to see? I want to see it getting extreme with a lot of volume down into it, right? And then this to also be explosive. I don't want to see it get back below this wick, right? Because if we had some shit like this, where we instead start chopping around a little bit, even for a few minutes, like right like this, then I really wouldn't be comfortable holding this trade, because then I would expect further downside, right? And here you see a clear extreme sweep. On the next candle, you already reclaimed it, right? And then you start to hold it, compress a little, and you move from it. And that ended up becoming the bottom. But anyways, if you even did not know in hindsight that that would have been the bottom, because nobody knows, of course. And what do we have here? Just a very quick scalp. right? Just based on liquidity, nothing fancy. So what have we been doing right after that major move? We have formed a new range where we have a pivot high, we have a pivot low. I map out the range, we have a 0.5 level. What do we want to see with that 0.5 level? Previous interaction, otherwise we don't deem it valid. And these are those scenarios that you would like to play. That reaction from that 0.5 towards the downside, if we reject, if we claim it, we play it towards the upside, right? Where do you want to place those bigger trades in a range? At the extremes, right? At those extremes. So if we get here, we open a bigger position. If we get around here, we open a bigger position, then we would be doing at that 0.5 level. Because here we have a more clear invalidation with this low, right? If this starts setting up, some shit like this, now we have this low as confluence and this low as confluence. So wanted to point that out real quick. And what should we be doing right now? Just waiting out this range, in my opinion. We do have a little bit of a weird point where this also was a key level, which still is based upon volume key level in either case. So we could get some shit like this, where we first chop, right? But we would like to see this getting held. And next up, if this even breaks, this to be held. If this also starts to lose, we are expecting some shit like this. Right? So I want to point out both scenarios. It depends a bit on what time you are viewing this video and of course on your personal playstyle. Because I don't want you guys to be following exactly what I do myself. I want you guys to get your own style and just learn a little bit from these videos, how I map out levels, what do I do with triggers, and then you find your own triggers, right? So from this, I wouldn't like to see a trade below this. Otherwise, yeah, this point just looks very logical. Let's state it again. If we lose this, it's your key area, right? So then we should trade a lot lower, where this is that previous daily open, where you had that explosive move from, right? So it looks to be a crucial point. But now let's get in that volume chart, where this also is that key point based upon volume. And if we go down a little bit, you see I have already pointed them out right there. That if we really find acceptance below this, we should be looking at those high volume nodes again, which are right here and right here. Now find the confluence yet again. Yep, this is exactly where we are looking at. So if we trade below this, look a bit lower, where we either could hold here, but if it does not start to bounce right, if it starts to just chop a little and really not show any sort of aggressive buying, we should expect it to trade into here. Here we do the same. If we see an aggressive move, we get in. If it starts to chop around a little and just does not do anything, expect it to trade into here. Right, so there are three logical levels to look at, which are these three high volume nodes right now. And let's get into ETH right now, because I think for Bitcoin it's a little bit more clear. For ETH, it should be this range high. We want to hold this range high, and I really wouldn't like to see it trade into this, because then I would expect it to roll towards that 0.5 anyways. But I want ETH to be the stronger pair right here, which I think it will be. But you already see by now I've pointed out this point as an impulsive move, right? Where this till here was your impulse move towards the upside. So what are we looking at to reclaim this point, to hold this point, which also was your previous compression before we started breaking up, right? So these will be two logical points to look at for those lower time frame trades for ETH, in my opinion, and of course that previous high. So that should be quite clear as well. They are really clean right now. The charts look really nice, so we can't be maximum bullish at highs. Always have to be a little bit bearish at highs and bullish at lows. So yeah, when we look at that on a 1 minute, it does look to be trending up. So we could end up reclaiming this, and then we should see a nice impulse back towards that high, where this could also be a nice short-term trade. So I will try to upload this video a little bit quick as well, where if we go in that higher time frame, yeah, we want now this range high to be cleared, and then we can look at those extension levels right there. So when we get into that volume part of ETH, we see we wanted this level to be broken, because this could have been a very big resistance, which it was, because we had a massive impulse when the moment we broke it, really. Because when we look at this on the 1 minute, you see that candle that closed above it when that really started that impulse. And where was the confluence? Yet again, that value area high from this entire range, right? Which is where we had this little part break above it, and we end up trading right through it, right? We even made that higher low on that New York open again, which came right back into the low of this box, which was your previous high right there. So I wanted to point that out real quick. A lot of alts are looking very good because of this. And to end it with, well, I won't end it with, I'll go over the volume analysis for Market Monkey a little bit as well, where we look at the stack bids or stack asks inside the order books. But we really wanted to see ETH and BTC, ETH, BTC, and BTCD getting inverted, where this starts trading up and this starts trading down. Well, looks beautiful. But what should we be doing right now? We have that 0.5, which we would like to be holding. So a retrace into here really should not matter that much. But we do want to see this level getting held. And next up, we have to break this level right here. If we do manage to flip this level, I think we will be trading quite explosively again, in a similar style that we have seen here, right? Where it really was not when you broke through this part of the high where we started to get that impulse. It really started a bit earlier when we broke above these highs. So I think we will do this in a similar style again, that if we break above this, that then the impulse really will start on that lower time frame, where it is really hard to get in a trade, because we want to have a clear stop, and if price is only doing this and it does a little bit of like this, yeah, this is really not that clear of a stop, We want to have a bit of a deeper dip, and here we have a bit of a cleaner invalidation, right? So if price just fully trends up like this, it's really hard to get in positions, which is why you need to position yourselves in those compression periods, right? When price is starting to compress, then you catch this move, price compresses, then you catch this move, right? This is the way how you should be playing it. But now that I've said it, I will go into Market Monkey for a little bit. We will be looking at volume. I have to let it load for a couple seconds. If this was Autos, I would have been waiting here for 5 hours. But this is Market Monkey, so it only takes a few minutes, well, a few seconds actually. When we look at this, we had that value area high right now, which is getting confirmed in a bit more than 2 hours. But this looks really good. The only concern, this little ramp up on delta, and this little ramp up on volume. But the levels should be quite clear from that regular chart. But the only thing that I really wanted to point out with this right now are the bids and sells, right? Well, bids and sells, how to say. Where currently here is a clear resistance. Here are a lot of sell orders, which is at 11.12. Now let's get back to this chart, where is 11.12, guys? Oh, I just said it wrong, didn't I? 11.2, yeah, 11.12, what the fuck? 11.2. 11.2 should be right around here. So wait, well, oh, I see already. This is the USD chart, the price difference. So that should be right around here. Yes, at 11.9 that should be. Which if we get extended, this also would have been both range highs. So that would be looking at it from the lower time frame on the upside, but on the downside, where do we have? Wait 1 second. I'll quickly remove this. Yeah, we don't really have a lot of major bids sitting right here. So that actually could be quite decent. Yeah, looks quite well, to be honest. And I also would like to have a little bit of a look at ETH right here, because this really looks quite decent. But there is the thing of single prints, where if we create them, we fill them eventually, most of the times at least. So we could end up trading later on the week into this level right here, which would also be that daily VWAP, or previous daily VWAP, which I assume it will close right around here or some shit. So this should be a key level to look at, that if price gets back into here right around tomorrow, look for some reasons to long instead of be bearish. But let's get into that volume, because currently we don't really have anything to be trading into, right? So this is why I pointed out these levels with that extension logic on that previous chart, where we should be looking to extend that logic, right? So now we will do it at that upside to also look at those targets, because currently we don't really have a lot of people that are wanting to sell above this. Right, you already see it that the next major seller is at 11.3k, or 113k, I mean, which is quite far away, but would be right around here, because we have to keep in mind this is that USD chart. So you see 111. Right now it's 1109. So that's a big thing to keep in mind when I share this chart, because it's USD and not a perpetual setting. So yeah, we want to hold this and look for those setups. And if we extend towards the downside, look at these levels, right? When we extend to the upside, we will be looking at these levels. So that's the simple range analysis. I wanted to make this video a bit longer because earlier today I did not make the video, of course, but now that the day almost has ended, I wanted to do it in a more of a recap style and to prepare you guys for tomorrow, instead of giving a video on that day to prepare you for that day. So keep these levels in mind, watch those setups. They should play out quite clearly. It really depends on which side is given first. It's like I stated, we can only make the scenarios logic in our mind, right, before they play out. So it's really easy to act upon it. Because if we are only looking at that downside and the upside setup comes, you are highly likely to not take it in the end, while you know in your brain that it should be going up. But because your bias and your only situations were down, you are not looking at those upside scenarios, right? So clear levels, if you want to get this exact same range, these 2 points, so that's 22.55 till 21.55, exactly an hour. That's a funny matrix again. Okay. So yeah, these will be that setups, and I will stop yapping now for today. Where yeah, I will share this a little. Where this is looking quite good, and this is also looking quite well. Where we had support on this part again. So I'll end the video with this. Make sure to let me know if you stuck till the end, and drop it down below in the comments whether you prefer the old voice or this current voice. So with that having said, guys, alien out.